Hey everyone, it's Ryan with Peabody's Apiary. Today I wanted to shoot a quick little video on the cost to start beekeeping in 2025. The prices have really gone up since I first started keeping bees back in 2011, and I want to just share with you guys some information that I know on what you really need for that first year starting to keep bees. I'm not going to cover the treatment aspect of the colony on how you'll have to treat, because that's really up to the beekeeper, and I'm sure that you can get with a mentor and go over the pricing on that. But I'm going to go over the equipment that I think that you need for the first year, and also the goal that you should have with that first year, and the cost for the PPE and things like that. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we'll get in the video. So before I start going over pricing and what I think you'll need for that first year, a new beekeeper is going to be starting with 9 times out of 10 frames that are foundation. So you're not going to have drawn wax on these frames yet by the bees, because they've never been in a beehive before. So that's another thing that you will have to add into your pricing, is the cost of sugar, which I'm getting around a 50-pound bag for about $40 here where I live in Southern Maryland. That can vary to what state you live in. Just something to think of, because you will, as a first-year beekeeper, you will be using a lot of sugar for those bees to draw these frames out, so you're good to go heading into the winter and heading into the spring of 2026. So what I'm going to talk about today is how I would run my hives the first year, and this is just my opinion on what my goal would be. So I would run a bottom board, I would run 2 deep boxes, and I would not worry about queen excluders, honey supers, all that added extra stuff my first year. That will be purchased after I get through the winter. And if I knew my bees were doing good, say February, March, I'd go ahead and order that equipment to get ready for that flow of 2026. So firstly, deep boxes, and this is going to be unassembled equipment. So for deep boxes, they run around on average, and I sourced all this pricing from about 4 to 5 different dealers, beekeeping supply companies. It's about $22 for unassembled deep box. And this is wood, not wax, so you'll have to paint these boxes and put them together. So also, before I go any further, the pricing on this for the total cost at the end is going to be to run 2 beehives. This isn't for just one solid hive, it'll be for 2, because I believe as a first-year beekeeper, you should always start with 2, so you can compare this hive, hive A to hive B. If you have a problem in hive A, you can fix it with hive B and just compare the two, but that's a whole nother video. So back to the cost. So yeah, so two deep boxes be about $44, and you're gonna need 4 of them, because that would be, you're running 2 hives, which is a total of $88. Also, inside the boxes, you're gonna need frames. So you'll start out buying about 40 frames, and you can buy these in, a lot of companies will sell these in cases of 20 or 40. So for 40 frames, that's anywhere from $140 to $160. Now there's that $20 change there, because you could go with foundationless frames, you could go with Peerco, Acorn, all plastic. I prefer the wood with the plastic inserts, but that's where you're gonna get that price difference. But on average, around $160 for the frames. Also, you will need something to put the hive bodies itself on, so you'll need a bottom board. Whether you go screened or solid, the prices are pretty much the same. So for 2 of these, it'll be anywhere from $50 to $70. Okay, then you'll need a hive lid. That's another thing you'll have to decide. But again, on average, the hive lids are anywhere from $50 to $70. And again, that pricing is for 2 of these. So these are going for about $25 to $35 last time I checked, and average the cost of all the different companies. So then for your first year, you're going to have to feed your bees. You're going to have to feed your bees a lot of sugar water. They don't have the numbers. They're not an established colony just yet, especially if you're using a package. So there's multiple different feeders. You can feed with a Borman feeder in the front of the bottom board, or you can feed, like this is a in-frame feeder, so you'll take 2 frames out, and this will sit down in the box, and the bees crawl down in these little tubes, and they can eat like that. Or you can drill holes in the top of your lid, and bucket feed. So these feeders, again, you'll need 2 of these. So these are about $15 to $20 depending on what brand you go with. So that's a total of $40 with the frame feeders. So that'll pretty much get you going with your hive equipment. You also you will need an inner cover, which this just goes on top of the box. Then you put your lid on top of the inner cover. These are anywhere from $15 to $20 depending on where you purchase your equipment from. You could also buy a starter kit, but I recommend it's kind of fun to kind of build your stuff and figure out how it works and everything like that. So these are all pieced out pricing. Also, for the tools that you'll need the first year, I'm talking about the very first year, not going out spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on all kinds of, there's a lot of beekeeping gadgets out there. You'll need 2 things, and you'll need a smoker and a hive tool. These are the 2 things that you will 100% need your first year keeping bees. I don't recommend going out there and buying a queen marking tube and all kinds of different gadgets. You may buy a queen clip if you find your queen and you want to go through the hive and you can catch her in the queen clip. That's like a $5 cost. So a smoker is going to average you around $50. And then a hive tool is anywhere from like $10 to $15 depending on where you purchase it at. It's not a huge expense. I recommend buying 2 of these. You'll definitely lose one. So now talking about the PPE, and that'll be a preference to you whether you want a full suit, beekeeping suit, which is from your top of your boots all the way up to the top of your head, or like me, I just use bee gloves, beekeeping gloves, and these go up over top of my jacket. So I just use a regular jacket. It's got bands here that's tight around my waist, and it's breathable. You can get a vented one. This jacket right here costs about $160. Most jackets with veil that I looked up online were the average about $150 that were vented. I really recommend a vented bee jacket so you get that airflow while you're working in the summer. And then gloves, they were all around $25 to $35 a piece. So now you got your PPE, the tools you'll need the first year, your equipment, your frames. Now you need bees. So this is a big talk that I have with my local bee club here. There's pros and cons to both different aspects, and there's really 3 ways to get bees. One, you can hang a swarm trap and catch a feral colony that swarmed, which is fun, and I don't not recommend that. But the most common part is package bees or nukes. So a nuke is a established 5-frame colony that will have all stages of brood, larva, pollen, food, honey, and a laying queen. So that colony is established. So when you get that nuke and bring that nuke home, it immediately has to go into a deep hive body with frames for that colony to start working. If not, they'll swarm on you. So a nuke around my area is anywhere from $200 to $225. And again, you'll need 2 of those. So you're looking at $450 for the 2 nukes. Now on the flip side, you could go to package bees, which are about $130 to $150, again, depending on where you live. So packages are cool also because when you install that package, you get to watch the whole start of your own colony at home, as far as that first bit of wax being drawn on the frames, the first little eggs that you see, your queen being accepted, and them capping over the brood. So you get to really see all the stages as a new beekeeper, which I think is pretty awesome. The only thing is with a package, you'll have to immediately feed. I mean, the whole year, your first year. So your goal for that first year should be to get all 20 of these frames and these 2 deeps drawn, and then plenty of weight on before going into the winter. That would be your goal. These frames right here, anyone can buy these frames, but if you have wax, drawn out comb and wax on these frames, that's priceless. That beekeepers, I mean, this stuff right here you can really help a colony if you have drawn comb, because it takes a lot of nectar to pull wax and for the bees to fill this up and use this as their home. This is just wood and plastic. Until it has wax and comb on it, that really is their home when it's got wax and comb on it. Sorry, I went on a little rant there. So yeah, so I'll go through at the end of this video and total up the cost of everything to get started. And I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments. I'm missing out. I'm missing a lot of little knick-knack things and a bunch of equipment. And I didn't go over any of the honey extraction tools or even equipment, because your first year, I personally think your job is to keep those bees healthy, feed those bees, and get them to draw these frames out. Draw these frames out, and then once you get into the wintertime and come out in the spring, you can reassess your colony, and then you go ahead and order that equipment for your honey supers, your queen excluders, however you want to do that to add space for your honey. But right now, for that first year, focus on getting these bees to draw these frames and become a really strong colony going into the fall and into the winter. And again, on the treatment aspect of beekeeping, there's a bunch of treatments out there. I recommend getting with a local club or finding someone that can mentor you that's been a beekeeper to your local area, and they will go over the cost of treating the colonies and the pros and cons to different treatments, what time of year to use those treatments, and so on. So yeah, I appreciate you all watching this video, and I hope this kind of gave you a little price point on the initial startup of beekeeping, running 2 colonies in a simple way without going over every little thing that I may have or a beekeeper that's been keeping bees for 10 years has. Your first year, you want to keep it simple. Your main goal is to focus on the health of that colony, learn about keeping bees, and get some of these frames drawn out and get them into the winter healthy. So yeah, I really appreciate you all watching this. If you can please hit the like and subscribe button and follow this channel, because I'm going to be doing a vlog this year from probably in about 2 weeks all the way through to the winter time. I'm going to go over honey extracting, everything that I do here in Southern Maryland, and how I keep my bees. So I appreciate it. Thank you. You all have a good night.